It's not a game, it's a rich thing.
What's up everybody, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to give you my thoughts as a professional player on the Way of Weight 8085 Ultra V2. The regular 8085s were an amazing performer, so let's find out if these are better. They retail for around 140 euros. The dollar retail price is a little bit higher, around 160. In both cases, you can save by using my code LucasSimona10. With that out of the way, let's get straight into it with the traction performance. Still very good and nothing has changed just from a tech standpoint. In the forefoot, it's only a very small part, but it's still worth noting. We have GCU. It's not a new technology from Way of Weight. They've actually used it on quite some amount of basketball shoes throughout the past year. It's a polyurethane setup and it has some great performance features. Don't let the look fool you. The pattern is very shallow and it looks to be very fragile. It's actually a pretty durable and very good gripping setup. The rest of the outsole is Tough RB, which is an extremely durable rubber setup that Way of Weight uses. On the regular 8085s, I've got a lot of complaints from followers saying that their outsole is wearing off way quicker, cracking up, and there's just damages in there, even if they're just playing indoors. And I thought they were actually going to be durable enough for outdoors because of my past experiences with the Tough RB setup and also with GCU. Here, I didn't get any complaints. I myself didn't have any complaints, but I also didn't have that on the regular 8085s simply because I rotate shoes a lot, so I don't usually wear them as much as someone who only has one pair of basketball shoes. But I still think that these will be durable enough for outdoors as well. And in any case, if you have any problems, I can highly recommend you contact the customer support of Way of Weight. They were very helpful in the most cases where my followers had issues. And one thing to note is that I didn't have any issues at all with dust pickup, which is always a nice thing. So if you're playing on dusty courts, these could actually be a really nice option. Moving on to the cushioning setup, there's also no changes there, but to be honest, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And that's exactly what Way of Weight did. Still a full length Super Boom drop-in midsole. The regular 8085s were the first shoe to implement Super Boom, or actually the first basketball shoe to implement Super Boom. Right now we also have it on the Way of Weight 12, and supposedly it's coming on the All City 14s as well. Here on the 8085s, the setup is truly amazing, extremely bouncy, a lot of impact protection, and actually still responsive enough that you can get some court feel out of the shoe, especially in the forefoot area. In my opinion, it fits almost every playstyle and every position. Maybe just if you're used to wearing some very low to the ground shoes like Kobe 8 or 9s, these are not the best option for you, but even bigger guys can wear this shoe, especially because they improved on the support features as well. One thing I want to note about the drop-in midsole setup, because I see it a lot online and I get a lot of questions about it. If you use custom orthotic insoles or victory insoles or something like that, these shoes are not for you, because if you switch out the drop-in midsole, the whole cushioning and almost all of the supportive features of the shoe go away. If I show this to you here, I take out the insole. This is the entire layer of cushioning as opposed to another basketball shoe that doesn't have a drop-in setup. We have the cushioning in the midsole, but here there's nothing there. And also for the support features, as you can see, these fold like a piece of paper if you take out that insole. Also, don't put the custom insole on top of the drop-in midsole, because then you'll sit too high in the shoe and all the support features will go away. For the drop-in midsole, it's very nice. It's extremely bouncy, and what I like is that you have those little knobs here in the forefoot that add some friction underneath your socks, not to a point where it's uncomfortable, but to a point where you actually have a very good bite, if that makes sense, on the drop-in midsole and don't slide around. One thing I don't like about the drop-in midsole is those little walls here on the side. They actually move up, and if you have wide feet like me, that presses into your wide feet like crazy. Now just a comparison with the insole in there. This is how they flex, so way more supportive, and of course the whole cushioning is also there. I talked about the support. That's actually where we see some changes. What I like is that they kept the carbon fiber plate here in the midfoot. That makes for the good torsional support if connected with the drop-in midsole. That's still here. What's not here anymore is that carbon fiber plate we had here in the heel area, and that's actually a thing that Way of Weight likes to do, as seen on the Way of Weight 12 as well. Those have carbon fiber plates on the lateral and medial side of the heel. The regular version had one on the lateral side, and it just added a little bit more sturdiness in the heel area. Here we don't have it anymore, but what is changed and what makes these a little bit more supportive than the regular 808.5s is this new plasticky overlay that kind of came from a new printing technology while producing them. At least that's what it says on Way of Weight's website. They always put a lot of text back in their description, so make sure to check that out if you're into that kind of things or if that just interests you before you get a basketball shoe. This overlay just makes the shoe a little bit more sturdy, helps keep your foot on the footbed. One thing that's also excellent about this shoe is the lacing system. If you pull on the very top eyelet or just at the end of your laces, all the eyelets will tighten up. So it's also a very quick fix if they get undone during games or practices. And overall, the laces do a great job of keeping your foot on the Super Boom drop-in. And in combination with the upgraded materials here, it's really a very supportive ride. And I don't really miss the carbon fiber plate here in the heel. For the materials, I've talked about it already. The biggest difference is, of course, this plasticky overlay here. They're all synthetic. The padding is exactly the same. The tongue could use some more because if you tie the laces very tightly, you can sometimes feel them cutting into your foot a little bit or into the top of your foot. But apart from that, in my opinion, padding is adequate, especially in the heel area. The biggest difference between these and the regular 808.5s is that the upper is a little bit more heavy, a little bit thicker as well. So you don't have that really soft feeling on your foot anymore. There's more of a shell on your foot in this case, and it just adds more support. One thing to note is if you don't get the right fit, that can lead to an issue because they kind of run a little bit long and you've got a lot of space here in the toe area. And then when you flex your foot, you can see that the material kind of wobbles up here a little bit and that can pinch into your foot. Speaking of the fit, they are still pretty much the same fitting as the regular 808.5s, a little bit long and still pretty narrow, unfortunately. The more I wear them, the more they pinch into my foot and I have an extremely wide midfoot. The toe area is actually okay, and as I said, they're kind of a little bit long. My recommendation is go true to size to your Way of Weight size. If you don't have a Way of Weight size, go with the same US size that you also use for Nike. And if you have a wide foot or an extremely wide foot, these are probably not the best option for you. I'd recommend you get the Way of Weight 12s because those actually accommodate wide feet very well. And while they're slightly more expensive, again, you can use my discount code LucasSimmer10 on the official Way of Weight website for 10 euros or dollars off the full retail price, also if they're on sale. And if you have a narrow foot, you can even think about going down half a size depending on how narrow your feet are, simply because there's so much space here in the toe area. The last thing I want to talk about is the weight of the shoe. They are actually quite heavy, and in my opinion, the main factor for that is the new and upgraded materials and the switch from carbon fiber to synthetic materials here in the heel area. They are almost 20 grams heavier than the regular 808.5s. And almost 40 grams heavier than the Way of Weight 12, which just goes to show how impressive the Way of Weight 12 is. My full performance review of those is coming out as well, so make sure to subscribe to my channel. And now for the last part, my summary and my rating on where they end up on my 0 to Book 1 scale. If you're not familiar with it, the Nike Book 1 is my all-time favorite basketball shoe. And I made a scale to show how much I like basketball shoes in comparison to the Book 1s. These come in close to the Book 1s, not all the way there, but I'd give them a solid 8.5 to 9 out of 10 rating. There's some things that are definitely improved, but I think it comes down to what you prefer from a shoe. If you need a more supportive and more sturdy shoe, then definitely go for the V2s. If you prefer a lighter and more breathable shoe, go for the V1s. The cushioning and the traction is almost the same, with the small exception that these are slightly more durable if you play on an outdoor court. Overall, still a really good basketball shoe. Way of Weight has been killing it with all their releases this year. With all that out of the way, if you enjoyed the video, I'd really appreciate it if you could leave a like on the video, comment your thoughts on the 808.5 Ultra V2s and how they hold up to the regular version, or just leave a comment for the algorithm. And if you did all that and still want to help me out, I'd be very thankful if you could subscribe to my channel. Have a good one and see you next time.